In our last session, we created ds underscore material dimension. Okay, so we created this dimension, we uploaded some data into this dimension via flat file. Okay, so now what we are going to cover is, now let's see how to create a model in a SAC. Okay, and when we creating a model, we can create a model in two ways: either create a model from the scratch on your own, or while creating a CSV file also you can create a model. Okay, so what we do is, for better understanding, it is always good to start from a CSV file or Excel file. Okay, so for this what we need to do, first of all we need to prepare one Excel file. So now a model is used to load the transactional data, correct? So I am going to prepare some transaction data here now. So same kind of transaction data I will use in all my sessions. So document number created on, so easy to understand, we can get the more things also here. Created on material quantity unit. Let's take these fields. So 1001 created on 2022-0101, material M1, quantity 100 like pieces. Okay, 1002 2022-0102, M2 150 pieces. Like this, let's create some data. Okay, so let's make the data minimal to save time. Okay, na? So we have these data. You see, when we creating a model, it is telling either create from a CSV file or an Excel file. It's up to you. You can create a model from an Excel file also, but I always prefer to store data in always CSV format, so that I can store my formatting properly. So I'm going to save as this my file in a CSV file format only. So sales data 1 of type CSV comma delimited. Click on save. Done. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going here, creating from a CSV file or Excel. Select your source. I selected my source file. Click on OK. Use first row. Yeah, you see, use first row as the column header. We have this option here, so that first row will not be considered when loading data. And then import. Yeah. Now we can see this one. So what is this? A new model, not yet created, but established in this way. So until unless we click on create model, model will not be created in our database. Okay, so these are the different columns that you are trying to load from your flat file or CSV file. So you see, it is telling number of rows 4, number of columns 5, dimensions also 5, means 5 columns means 5 dimensions here. Okay, model requirements: mapping complete, no data quality issues detected, no calculation issues detected. So these are the some of the checks what it did. So data loaded from a CSV file. Model options: when you're creating this model, are you creating this model as a planning model or a normal model? If you feel your model is if your wish is to create a planning model, then enable this checkbox, or else it is a normal model. Okay, so default currency for this model, since there are no amount fields, but if you want to provide some default currency, you can provide the default currency also here. Though this is a high level model level properties what we seen. Now we need to go do for some column level properties also we need to check. So what is document number? Document number, I am creating it as a generic dimension. As I told you here, you see, a dimension can be created in multiple types. When you create a normal dimension, you get only generic and organization. But when coming to here, it is telling, is it a generic, date, organization, account, version. So version dimension mainly used for planning models. As our model is not a planning model, we don't need to think about this one. So out of this, now generic dimension here is I'm giving document number as a generic dimension. Okay, so that it is considering everything like this. When coming to created on, you see it is also system considered it as a generic dimension, but my created on is a date field, so I have a separate type date. So select the date as a type. Then what will happen? System will consider the format. SAP is already considering as per your information given here, it is considering this as a type, but if you feel like this is a wrong type, you can change the type also. Okay, so but in the file, my date dimension is of type YYMMDD, so it was properly selected here. Now from here SAP is selecting number of records, 2 records, because only 2 unique values are there. That's why it is showing count as 2, and this is 1, this is 1. So with 0 to January I have 2 records, with one record is 2022. This is one different months. Okay, na? This is like this. So here also I don't have any issues with my data quality. Now coming to material. Material is also generic dimension. Yeah, I can make it as a generic dimension. Fine, generic dimension, data quality, everything is fine, so nothing to. When coming to quality, quality is not a generic dimension. Okay, I forgot to tell one more point here. Okay, yeah, this is important point. This is a measure. This is a measure. Okay, so when coming to BPC, how data stores is little bit different. Okay, it's a measure field. Okay, this is the number format. Label, if I want to give label, quantity. Scaling, if you want to mention some scaling here, none. Decimal places, how much decimal place you want to see? If you want to see 2 decimal places, give 2 here. Data description. So you maintain this one also. Coming to this one, this is also, let's keep it as a general only, generic only, and pieces. And 1 second, decimal, that's it. Now since you mentioned you defined each and every property of each column, like dimension properties you already defined here. Then by clicking on this model symbol, again you can go to model properties. Okay, now I'm going to create a model here. Create model. Have you finished mapping and editing your data? When you click the create button, your model will be started to create. So now I'm clicking on create. So it's asking to what is my model name. So sales data 1, where I want to save my model. I want to save my model under SAC training folder. So click on, and if you want to give some description to your model, you can give it, or else technical name only will become as a description also. Click on OK. So why we are creating a model? Based upon a story can be created based on model only. Mainly why we are using SAC tool? SAC tool is mainly for the reporting purpose. Okay, creating storyboards, dashboards and all. So to create those storyboards, dashboards, you need some source data. So source data means you cannot bring directly from there. Intermediately you need to create a model. On top of model only you can create your storyboards and dashboards and all. Okay, so that's why model creation is important here. So now you created a model, and you loaded one file into it, and if you go to model structure, here you can see the model structure. So now we created this model on the fly while uploading a flat file data into your model. Okay, you have one account dimension, one created on material unit to document number. Okay, so you see here, if you minimize the detail section, data foundation, followed by all these things, structure. And next thing is, if you want to see data, go to data management. Not data management, just a second. So toggle data foundation view. If you click on this toggle, if you see there are two kind of views. Structure view. Structure view means how this is created, and the data foundation view means the tabular format. If you want to see data in the tabular format, now in this way you can see it. Okay, and you see here one thing which not yet told here is BPC kind of data storage. Okay, created on material PC document number values. You see values, and then there is one extra dimension created called account dimension. So this point we not yet covered. Understanding this point is very important when working on a SAC. Okay, so this is a kind of planning model, planning kind of data set. Okay, let me go here to explain what is this account dimension, how account dimension is important, while loading data into it. So this I can explain you when compile, yeah, no need to compare. I can explain normally also. So for example, if you consider this data is in a tabular format where each column, for example, quantity is one of the KPI, key figure column, and I want to add one more column now, amount. Okay, so amount is equal to, let's say, just to make it simple, I am doing into 20 here. Okay, to make it to, I want to generate some extra amount column, and currency. Currency, if you want to, let's currency not required at this point of time. Okay, so this is your data set. So when you consider your data in a two-dimensional format, in a tabular format, so you will write quantity and amount in respect to each record. So for each record, you have quantity in a different column, amount in a different column. Okay, this is a two-dimensional way of representing your data set in a way. So it's easy to understand. For example, for 1004 document number, what is the quantity, what is the amount, you can see clearly. When you are trying to load this data into your SAC, you cannot load in the same format. Okay, you need to change your table format in a different way. So what is that? When coming to this one, so characteristic fields can be as it is. So document number created on material, there is no problem with this one. But when coming to key figures, you cannot have multiple key figure columns in your data set. You always have only one field called account. One is account dimension and signed data. Okay, this is like a BPC terminology. BPC means planning terminology. So what document number created on material, account and signed data. These two are the two extra columns which I am referring to. Okay, what is account dimension? What is this signed data means? Okay, signed data are measure. You can call measure. So what is this measure? So for example, if you take first record 1001 2000 M1, now one record is now splitting into two records. Why? Because since you have two different KPIs here, quantity and amount, you need to mention the KPI information in the account dimension. So quantity is one key figure and amount is another key figure. So you need to mention those two key figures in two different rows, and the corresponding values you need to mention on the signed data or measured column. Okay, so quantity is 100, amount is 2000. So one record got splitted into multiple records based upon this account dimension differentiation. Okay, for example, if you have one more field, discount field also in your data set, then what happens? Your data set will have one more record here, discount. Okay, so based upon number of key figures you are having here, your number of rows are increasing in your data set. So when you're loading data into SAC in a planning, this is how the planning data will be stored in the backend. Okay, our normal DSOs cube star data will store in a column based data. Now this is a row based data. Each row is having differentiating the corresponding record. Okay. So now same thing happened. Same thing happened when I try to load my data into this SAC. So what happened here? You see there is an account dimension created for the quantity column, and the values which are available in my quantity column got stored under measure values column. Okay, so this is what you need to understand. So when you have a data in your tabular format in this column based data, you need to convert this into row based data in this way. Okay, each row specifies the corresponding key figure. So one record got split into two records based upon the quantity and account dimension. In the similar fashion, now so second record also will be split into two records, one for quantity, one for amount. Okay, so here it will be 150, here it will be below it will be 3000. Okay, so now let's try to create one more model in this row based structure. Okay, so now what I'm going to do, I'm going to create a new file. Here I will try to copy data from here to save time. Okay, here I will call this name as signed data because as per the BPC terminology. So this is my data set. Actually, this is two records only. In this particular data set, I have only two records based upon document number created on material combination. But in a data point of view, we have four records because we have two different KPIs here, account dimension, signed data. Now, if we have data in this format, how we are going to load this information into our SAC? Let's see quickly. Okay, creating a model again using CSV file. So now go here, save as computer on my folder, and I am giving a CSV comma delimited file sales data 2. Click on save. Now I am going to my tool. I am trying to create one more fresh model. Okay, so I am coming to model section. So if you want to go from starting, go to files folder. Okay, here let's go to our SAC training. In this we have our already existing model. Now I am going to create a new model. So go to create model from a CSV file or Excel file. Select your source file, sales data 2, click on OK. CSV auto delimited, click on import. Click on import. Yeah, it's loading. Okay, so now select each one. So select just a second. Resume చేస్తున్నా. So what is happening, select the dimension, make it generic dimension. This is okay. Created on is a date dimension, sorry, date type. So select your as a date type, and coming to material, so date type of YYYMM format is everything fine here. Yeah, material is a generic dimension. Now coming to account. So instead of account dimension is not a generic dimension because we know it is a key figure information storing. We need to select this as a account dimension. This is very important. Okay, because this particular KPI column is differentiating between multiple KPIs. You need to select this particular column as an account dimension. Okay, you have two account dimensions. Now this data you need to select it as a measure dimension. So this is a measure automatically coming here, and data quality, data distribution, so everything is fine here. Okay, now once you are done, now click on create model. So when you're creating a model, it will ask to provide a name for it one. So SAC training sales data 2, click on OK. Your model is creating now. So your model, yes, done. You are done with your model. Now go to your model structure format. In the model structure format, when you enable your view to the grid view, automatically you can see your data. You see same kind of data now you are seeing. Account dimension created on document number and material, and along with the values. Now in our coming session we are going to see how to do some reporting, creating dashboards on top of these models. We will see on high level. Okay, so I'm concluding this session here, stopping recording.